Welcome, dear friends, to Kardec Radio at 11 p.m., nourishing our souls with the Spirit of Truth. This is the book that was brought by on high several elevated spirits from Eurípides Barçanufo to Bezerra de Menezes, Emênio, Meimei, Anália Franco, and so many others will bring to us messages that are true tribute to the Gospel According to Spiritism. The Gospel According to Spiritism by Kardec was published in 1864. And this book that we're mentioning, The Spirit of Truth, was published in 1961, almost like 100 years later. And this book talks about the Spirit of Truth because Spirit of Truth is Jesus. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. And he comes to tell us about the divine truth. You and I want to know the truth, right? We want to know. We want to know to change our lives. We want to know the truth so we can live better because the truth set us free. Today, we're going to talk about Andre Louis' message, Decalogue for Mediums. It's about the 10 commandments for mediums. Well, if you're a medium, you want to know, here comes. But before anything else, I'm opening here the Gospel According to Spiritism because the message we are reading is inspired by chapter 26, item 7. You know what this is? What is in the Gospel chapter 27? So let me go there. I have it right here in my phone. And here we have 26, item 7, as easy as that. The chapter is titled, Give Freely What You Have Freely Received. And item 7 is Mediumship Free of Charge. And this is written by Kardec himself. He talks about mediumship is something sacred that must be practiced in a holy and religious manner. Okay? We need to observe the ethical, moral aspects. I know many people are like, but I just want to feel the spirits, talk to the spirits. But for anything, there is a rule. In anything in life, anything, we need to observe some rules. And here is the Decalogue for Mediums. Andre Luiz comes to us through Waldo Vieira and Chico Xavier to bring this message. He says, number one, we need to be reverent to our duties. Number one, this is what we call discipline. There are people who want to practice mediumship in their free time, but they're like, oh, I'm so busy. I have so much to do. I can't. No. We must be dutiful. He explains there is no constructive faith where the respect for the fulfillment of one's obligation is missing. So if I am not being dutiful in my daily life, I can go to the Spiritist Center and be a medium. Oh, I want to help people. But then I'm not helping those of my family members, those at work. I'm not fulfilling my obligations well. How am I vibrating? At the end of the day, you and I know it's about vibration, right? How do you think you're vibrating in terms of dutifulness, being dutiful? Are you vibrating high, being very dutiful? You have to do something and you do it? Or are we procrastinating? Well, it happens, procrastination happens at our human level, but we're talking about not fulfilling duties. Food for thought. He says the medium must be reverent to his or her duties. Work, family, care for the body, for spirit, be engaged in our society. our duties as citizens, our duties as family members, relatives, friends, colleagues at work, our job duties. Number two, work spontaneously. It's so interesting, the pair up. Be reverent to duty, work spontaneously. What is he doing? He's giving us a balance. He says, mediumship is a divine plow that the oxide of idleness rusts and destroys. So, what is he saying? It's like in number one, he's saying the number one thing is to be dutiful for mediums. Number two, do be useful, because that's what work in spiritism means, to be useful. Be useful spontaneously. Are we being spontaneous? Because often we're like, oh, but I wish I could stay home. I wish, but why do you want to stay home? To do what? To rest. For what? Rest, we do it during the night. But if we have a spiritist meeting, if we have community engagements, we need to be present, but spontaneously, not like push, like, "Ugh, I have to go." Spontaneously being useful. We will open a parenthesis here. The good spirits often talk about laziness, how detrimental it is to our progress. We need to be constantly energized to learn the new, to help, to work, to be useful. When I see people that are not feeling that, they need help. They need help because it's not, we're not at our optimal state when we're not feeling the energy to do things and to be engaged and to work spontaneously. This is nature. Look at animals, right? If you have a dog or a cat, you call and they're always lively. This is the healthy nature of us. Only when we're sick, we're not at our best, we're like, oh, but I want to rest in the middle of the day. We need to fix it. Care for the body and the spirit. Evaluate what is going on. But we need to be energized to work spontaneously. Three, do not think you're bigger or smaller. Andre Luiz is fascinating. He explains to us, like fruit trees scattered on the ground, each mediumistic talent has its usefulness and expression. So beautiful. Some people compare themselves. It's so common. People are used to comparing themselves. Oh, that person's great. That means I'm not so great. That person not so great. That means I'm great. No, don't think you're bigger or smaller. Just you are unique. We are unique. We are who we are. There is nobody like us in this universe. That we know. The individuality is preserved. Nobody has marched a similar journey. No, you're unique. Your talent is needed for you, for the world. But other people's talents are needed for themselves and for us. So there's no comparison. So he's saying, let's not engage in this comparison, spite, envy, jealousy, which is so common within mediumistic meetings and out of mediumistic meetings. Comparisons. There's no comparison. A medium that is working in this way, the other one may seem calm, like the counselor, the speaking medium, the seeing medium, the writing medium, the support medium. Everybody's needed, unique. It's teamwork effort. And number four, do not expect rewards in the world. Yeah, some people do. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing so much work helping people. And what do I get? Well, you get the fulfillment of your duty. Because mediumship, you didn't make an effort to be a medium. Oh, but I took courses. Well, you instructed yourself. We instruct ourselves, and that's one of the items here. We can't expect that people are going to repay for what is not even ours. He says, the Lord's gifts, such as the shining stars and the fountain's caress, the light of prayer and the blessing of courage have no price on earth. So free mediumship always. But what about my time? But does God charge you for your time? Oh, but I live in the material world, but we can't use spiritual gifts to sustain our material lives. We can't. No, no. One day, a woman came to me and the spirit sat about me, brought the medium's book and said, here Kardec says that if this talent comes from you, you can charge. And I say, but when do you know it comes from you? Mediumship is mediumship, okay? We can't charge. 5, do not centralize the action. All companions are called to cooperate in the good works so they can be elected for higher tasks. We love this. There are some people who are micromanagers. That's not a good thing because we are all equal at the end of the day, even if we have more experience or more knowledge for the time being. But everybody's equally in this in this journey of growth and higher tasks. So we cannot, for example, if I'm a medium, like I am the only one who receives X type of spirits, or centralize in such a way that only certain types of psychography come from me and not everybody else. No, only God knows. We cannot create a monopoly, a mediumistic monopoly, right? Where we have it all. No, no, no. It's not about power struggle. So he's saying, do not go there. Do not think you're the center of power. Because mediumship is power in a way. Because we can see what others don't see, we hear what others don't hear, and yet responsibility. Because we're affecting people's lives. If you read the books 2,000 years ago and 50 years later by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, we are going to see these psychic people, a man in 2,000 years ago and a woman, Plotina, in the second one 50 years later, they reincarnate as part of the families that they changed. Because then you're part of those destinies you changed. Because you say, oh, I think you need to buy this. Oh, I think you need. So that's when people come to therapy or they come to visit us for fraternal assistance, spiritual guidance. We don't interfere with their decisions because then we become part of it. Okay. 6, do not imprison yourself in doubt. Do not imprison yourself in doubt, which is so common in mediumship. Oh, I perceive this, but am I right? Was Chico Xavier really here? I saw André Luiz, but is it really André Luiz? I'm not going to say anything. And the answer is all good long before expressed through this or that interpreter of the truth proceeds originally from God. All good. So we ponder, is this a good thing? We share. We're not going to be gullible, believing all and anything. But we're going to observe. Kardec has a rule that serves a good purpose at this time when we have doubt. Observe the facts, analyze the language. Observe the facts, analyze the language. That's why at the end of mediumistic meetings, we have forms, We feel loud, we write down. We don't share all and everything we've seen and heard and experienced. We select, we share, we write down everything else as well, and we observe what happens. That's how we clarify doubts. Like a scientist, we keep observing to see what this really means. It's not a separate event. We observe, observe, observe. The good spirits did this with Kardec. They had the whole compilation at hand. And what did they do? They allowed Kardec to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And this is what many people don't understand in mediumship. They think that good mediums get the answer and that's it, it's final. No, we have to do our share. When Chico Xavier asked Emmanuel, how can I be of help in Spiritism? He said, discipline, discipline, discipline. Go figure, huh? Is it easy to break down? What do you mean, Emmanuel? You think he gave a whole discourse? Like, oh, discipline means this and that. To date, it's in all of us to break it down. It's our own effort. The good spirits don't come and deliver messages so we don't make our efforts. Even in mediumistic meetings, we need to make our efforts to understand our feelings, to feel the structure, to work on it together and grow together. And then, 7, always study. See, always study. The light of knowledge will arm your spirit against the traps of ignorance. I know many mediums who say, oh, but I read already so many books, I already know it. Where's humility here? I don't know. I have to read it all again. Read all these books again and again, because the more we read, the more we study, the more we understand how it works. It's fascinating. We grow, we start recognizing things in these books, Kardec's books, Chico Xavier's books, that we haven't perceived before when we were at another level of maturity spiritually. Number 8, do not get irritated. Cultivate charity and mildness, understanding and tolerance, because the messengers of love encounter enormous difficulty to express themselves safely through a heart preserved in vinegar. Do not get irritated. It's not worthwhile. So, what do we do? Practice humility. He says, be charitable and mild, understanding, tolerant. We need to trim down our ego because that's where intolerance comes from. That's where roughness comes from because we feel like we're better and we are more entitled to things and then we're like irritated. We need to practice this calmness and say, people are entitled to what they are entitled, and I am who I am. We're different. I don't need to be unsettled because people are getting on my nerves. They get on my nerves if I allow it, right? That's why he says number 9 is forgive endlessly. Many people think that the practice of mediumship does not require emotional management, but not only does, but it's essential. Emotional management and virtue seeking. We need to seek to be more virtuous, to be better mediums, right? I see people who practice mediumship and they don't aim at excellence. And when we talk about excellence, we're not talking about being a super medium, but being a responsible, dutiful, caring, loving medium. It's when we leave the realm of the average, the mediocre level, to a level of excellence. And he says here, The acid of criticism does not make your reality worse. The plague of praise does not change your just way of being. And even if you are categorized as mystifying deceitful, forget the offense that hits your face. Guarding the treasure of clean conscience, move on in the certainty that each individual perceives life from the point of view in which they place themselves. So here is Andre Luis saying, people may look at us and not believe our mediumship. That doesn't mean you're going to stop. Do you think you're going to stop? One thing is for sure, to be in a group that you trust and feel that people rely on you too. If you don't, when I see people having antagonic relationships within a mediumistic group, I say, don't stay. Chico Xavier was like this. He never participated in a mediumistic meeting with people that that he was holding grudges against. No, it doesn't work. We need to be very authentic, a Christian, finding a way to be mild in our considerations. Oh, but I don't say what I see because people don't believe in me. So that's not a good group for you. Oh, Vanessa, where do I go? Either you practice understanding and seek the good within your group, and you make the effort to find your way into harmonizing with the group, or you get out and belong to another group. But then I don't have another group. Well, form a group. You don't need more than two, three people to form a group. 10. Do not fear persecutors, which people do. Andre Luis says, remember the humility of Christ and recall that even Jesus, human shaped angel, was surrounded by free adversaries, cruel executioners, when he wrote on the cross with sweat and tears the divine poem of eternal resurrection. Some people fear the spiritual persecutors. Oh my gosh, the spirits who are going to go against us because we're doing the good works. It's not easy. But remember, we're protected and we need to be vigilant. And the other people who will persecute us because we're mediums, especially at Chico Xavier's time, when being a medium in a small town represented a threat to the social, religious status of the city at the time, of that town. They were threatened, but they didn't stop. Thank God, because now we have all these messages. Thank God Chico Xavier never stopped being afraid of anything, and he learned to deal with the fears. That's why we repeat. In this message, Andre Luis shows emotional management is center stage in the mediumistic practice. And two, we need to seek the development of virtues. Development of virtues is essential to secure good mediumship. At the end of the day, it's about the workout of the heart and the mind. It's about working out to really, from being dutiful to not being afraid of persecutions. Andre Luis brings to us 10 secure points for us to observe and make sure that our mediumistic practice is not only safe, productive, and allowing us to become ever more harmonized. Emotions here, actions that we need to observe, being dutiful, to be useful, not compared to other one another, not expect anything in return, so having no hidden agenda. Do not center the actions into ourselves. Do not imprison ourselves in doubt. Study always. Control our emotions. Do not get irritated. Forgive always, he says endlessly, and do not fear persecutors. Quickly, we browse through the Decalogue. What is the exercise? Pick one of them, the one that was more stronger for you. Let's practice during the next 24 hours, okay? Practice one of this. It's in our daily life, and that is going to affect our vibrational attunement with other minds, which at the end of the day is mediumship, right? Should you have any questions, let us know here through the chat or send an email to cardiacradio@gmail.com. We thank you for being here with us as we study together one more message from this phenomenal book, The Spirit of Truth. We're very grateful to André Luiz, to Chico Xavier, to Waldo Vieira for their gift in releasing this information to us. Thank you, friends. A big hug. And until tomorrow, God willing,